So this is my 60-gallon tank I just got from my sister. Thank you. I figured I'd make this into a video. I've got a lot of help online from different people watching the videos, and I thought it was very helpful and really helped me to figure out what I wanted to do with this. I have this just a Petco heater, Petco brand. It's up to 75 gallons. I've read a bunch of really good reviews online about this for life, and so I'm going to go with this. It's a good one. It's I've just read good things. I don't. Circulation pump. I will probably end up getting another one of these. This is 700 gallons an hour. This is going to be my return pump. The 2500. The area is so long that it's really going to force, with the elbow bracket being past the end of the threads, another few inches. That just is gonna short into the bulkhead on the outside. And then this is my skim bar. I obviously will paint this black. Package from glassholes.com. Oh, this is my bit to fit from glassholes.com to fit the bulkhead. Right on there. There's some heavy reservoir to hold my water. Well, with about 2 minutes of drilling, it popped through. It felt really rough in the beginning, and I was very concerned. I felt like the bit was bouncing everywhere, and it just cracked the glass. But here's my hole. Came right out. It's actually a little thicker than I imagined it being. I have a little bit of chip out on the very edge. Not much. So, huge sign of relief. I have all my 3 holes went through. Marineland Fusion spray paint is for plastic, but it works on glass. I'm going to use this for the paint. Looks to have dried really well on the tank itself. I picked up a couple large sheets of acrylic. Acrylic, as you can see, is pretty thin. I'm going to close off this area. I'm going to close off that area, cut out this top shelf area. I'm not sure how much weight it bears, so I'm going to reinforce. Here's all the fittings and plumbing that I need. I got some PVC primer and cement. My bulkheads. I got some L brackets. This is just to reinforce the cabinet. I want it to be as strong as possible, especially with the added water weight that we're talking about. So that's the sump. I draw like a 2-year-old. But there's the sump. I'm going to do the bubble trap with the baffles twice, and I bought enough acrylic for that. 5.5 inches to the bottom of the exit of the sump. So I'm looking at a good water line would be 8 inches, maybe 7.5. Looks probably good. The original way I had it drawn up, the 2 overflows came down and then met down here. The problem with that is there's a pipe overlap here, so that doubles the profile from the back. So I'm looking at doing it this way. So I got a couple 45s, so I'm going to have my 3 sides. 2 8-inch tall, because I had to compensate for the 2x4 support I added for additional support in the cabinet. I also have 6 or 5 baffles. These will be for my bubble traps. 7 inches high, so my water level will be 7 inches over the first baffle. And 2 10x10, so these will be the ends of the... As you can see, I'm working on the sump. I have acrylic cut to fit the bottom and the back. So this whole section, the acrylic up, there's the front piece, and this piece is going to go on the front, and I have to cut the side and the side. Cut it to fit. Cut it to fit there. Just got to figure out how to get that piece on. A couple more steps done. I have painted the inside of the black cabinet with kitchen and bath paint high gloss to avoid some of the moisture flow. It's particle board, so I figure it'll get pretty wet, but I try to get a good corners and okay, I have siliconed in my acrylic in the 3-4 sides. So I have installed all the acrylic front panel. I don't know if you can see very well in there, but that's a sump now. That is a tank. Well, that's about the messiest thing I've ever done. It's a good thing I'm not going for looks and all this will be covered up because I got silicone fucking everywhere. But you can see I got my bubble trap here with 3 baffles, about 1 inch apart and 1 inch off the bottom. You can see that. And before I get this in there, yeah, see? There's 1 inch off the bottom and about 1 inch apart. And I got this guy, which is just a smidgen smaller, shorter than the other one, so it'll help the flow go left to right. So I have put on the front the wooden part, secured it with 2 hinges, like so, and a row of nails on the bottom. I also siliconed the whole bottom for added seal at the bottom of the tank. And I put the doors back on, and if you open this up, that's my last baffle. My bubble trap and my protein skin. So, hardest part done. Started my plumbing. T-valves. I decided to put the bulkheads backwards so that I could get a lower profile to the wall when it comes out about so far. Okay, so that's the basic plumbing out the back. See, I ran this because the check valve is so high profile. I ran 245s to get it, see, closer to the tank. Keep my profile. Okay, so this is the finished product. I'm testing it with salt water right now. The sump itself has had 2.5 days full of water. Just I didn't want to fill the tank before I knew the sump would hold water, and that's really my major concern ongoing. Of course, you read stuff after you finish a project, and I already kind of knew this, but you know, there could be some issues with that silicone bonding with the acrylic. It doesn't bond to acrylic as well as glass. There is some real strong acrylic glue I could have bought to mend all the edges before putting silicone in. That kind of, I guess, bonds acrylic together. You know, hindsight's 20/20, but so far no leaks. I'm just going to monitor this thing super close, and the first sign of any water at all, moisture on the bottom or anything, I'll check a couple times a day. I'm going to shut the thing down, because last thing I want is the stand to become waterlogged and then this whole thing collapse essentially. So this is what we have going. I have my 2 overflows coming in from the top into clear pipe. I want to be able to see my water flow coming down into the sump. Water level is a little high right now. Typically I wouldn't have it above that first baffle, but I'm just testing it out, so I'll put a little bit less water in there next time. As you can see, the bubble trap is working. You see all the bubbles on this side and the smooth water on the outside, and if you look at my return, there's no micro bubbles coming out of that. So obviously once the protein skimmer goes in, that's going to cause some more micro bubbles than now. But and there's my return section, the pump inside there. Behind that baffle, again, water level will be a little bit lower so that the water kind of falls over that last baffle into the return section. And my return going up into that return pipe. As far as the top of it goes, skimming pretty well. I like the movement on the top. I like the skimming. It's going to assist a lot. It's a long slit, so this should give me a lot of safety from clogging. I have a I have a couple caps on the overflow here, just for comparison. If you take these off, that's what you hear. So I drilled a little hole in there to help with the noise. I might drill a little bit more to give it more flow. I'm not quite sure yet. That also depends on the return pump itself. Once I put a fitting on there for the return section that divides it in two, it's obviously going to put more resistance on the pump, so I'll have a little bit less flow. So I'm thinking that might help. But for now, just have them capped. It helps with the noise a lot, actually, surprisingly. And this side capped as well. You can see the water down in there. Flowing pretty good. There's the back plumbing. I had a real minor leak on the pressure hose on the return, which is the only pressurized hose, obviously, or piping. I was real scared I had to tear the whole thing apart, but I went and found this epoxy high pressure hose fixer for, it's made for lines for drinking water, so hopefully that's not a problem chemically. I don't think so, because it was such a teeny little leak. It just had a bead of water slowly forming about every 20 minutes. But I epoxied around the edge and then wrapped this fiberglass wrap on, so I shouldn't have any problems with that. And you see I'm not getting any dripping down below. There's some epoxy you can see, kind of looks like liquid, but it's completely dry as of now. It's been running for about an hour. Yeah, so concerns, obviously my sump is my major concern. Profile came out really good. It's really a low profile system. The skimmer bar is working really well. Doesn't really help. It's hard to get a good. I guess this is the only way with the reflection of the water. So you can see it's skimming pretty evenly actually too. Well, that is the system. Hopefully I have no problems. Oh, and this 2x4, I've just been using that for, it's makeshift, it's what the support will be. I painted a black piece of a 2x4 that fits right in there, so I'm going to be putting that in today once I drain this of fresh water, and I'm going to go get my sand and live rock and salt water, and I'm going to put it in today. And so obviously I'm going to move this tank up against that wall, fill it with salt water, and put the permanent black 2x4 under for support. And then I'm done. And I'm going to let it cycle, and test the chemicals, and wait till I'm ready for some fish and coral. Again, this turned out to be quite a bit of work, and I'm not 100% confident in the sump. Again, I silicone the hell out of it. There's so much silicone in there that if it's possible for silicone to bond to acrylic with such reinforcement of wood surrounding it, I mean, there's not a lot of pressure actually on the acrylic joints themselves because the acrylic is flushed with the wood. So my added supports and boards are really holding all the pressure. It's just those seams, and so if that aquarium safe silicone can stick to that acrylic, then I'll be good long term. Otherwise, my next video might be tearing this whole thing down and starting over. So I appreciate it. Thanks again to all the online ideas I had, particularly the one I referenced in the beginning of this video. Obviously I got the skimmer bar idea from him, and I think it was a great idea, still is a great idea. It seems like it's going to work really well for me. Get a lot of surface area of skimming, and the real noise doesn't come from the skimmer bar. The real noise is the water flow coming down these pipes. So I think that'll diminish a little bit once I put the divide on the return intake or input. Yeah, I was actually worried the most about the skimmer bar being the source of too much noise, but really it's the water rushing really fast down my two return pipes here. and it's not from the top or anything. You can hear it through the pipe. If you go up close to the pipe, you just hear the water rushing. So it's just really high flow, which is good. I probably have a good 700 gallons an hour flowing through this, which is pretty good. Maybe even more, actually. Because at 3 feet, this pump is rated for 600, and it's about 3 feet. So yeah, it's about 650 to 700 gallons per hour. So I guess that's it's a byproduct of high water flow. I'll have a healthy system, but it'll sound a little bit like the ocean. So thanks again. And here's how it looks at the start of cycling. We have 45 pounds of rock and 50 pounds of sand, and you can see the skimmer in its compartment, and I'm going to mount that power strip up higher for safety reasons, but everything's working and looking good. I have just the aqua glow lights on it now, but we're going to put T5s on there. And you see it's just far enough away from the wall where I can get my hand back there, but pretty low profile. Looks pretty good in the spot. So that's it.